Hey, how you going? Andrew here. Just want to give you another little encouragement this morning, this afternoon, whatever time it is where you're listening. In the story of David's life, we see a lot of ups and downs, and he has a lot of great victories. He has a lot of big struggles, and one of the things that always stands out to me is amazing about the character of David is when he has a loss, when he gets beaten down and defeated, he's somehow able to encourage himself when nobody else would. And there's an encounter in 1 Samuel chapter 30 when it tells us that he does exactly that. They've been off to war, and he comes back with all his men, and all of his wives and their children, all of his men, all of their wives and all of their children, all their possessions have been plundered by the enemy while they've been off at war. So they come back and everything's gone. And it says that all of David's men are like thinking of stoning David. It's mutiny, they're angry, they're bitter, they want to kill him. And he's got no one around him saying, "You can do it, come on, David." And he has to, these beautiful words, it says in verse 6 of 1 Samuel 30, it says, "But David strengthened himself in the Lord." He had a capacity to actually switch on faith and to strengthen himself. One of the greatest things we can ever do is learn to become our best encourager, to take on the role of being chief encourager of your own life. Because sometimes the people around you will be in such turmoil in their own world that they're not going to have the capacity to encourage us. So we've got to learn to do it ourselves, particularly if you're going to be a leader, particularly if you're going to lead people or carry influence in any kind of setting. When the people around you who are with you are struggling in an area of their life, they're going to direct all of their attention towards themselves. And what's fascinating here is just David's incredible ability to switch on faith and to encourage himself and to rise up to a place of being able to lead his men through this difficult situation. And what I want to encourage someone that's listening, that maybe you're in a season right now or a moment or a situation that's quite painful or difficult, don't jump to any conclusions about the people that are leading you or about the people that are around you until you're healed. If you're hurting, don't make any judgment calls until you're healed. These men had such a faithful leader in David. He loved them, he led them so diligently, he'd equipped them and empowered them and taken care of them. And in a moment of loss, they were all ready to turn on him. Their judgment had completely been lost. Their interpretation of his character was completely broken down, all because of the loss that they had experienced and the pain that they were currently in. And so I think it's really important, never try and make serious judgment calls about people, about situations while you're hurting. It's always best to get healed. It's always best to go into the presence of God and find peace and come out of that place of rest and restoration with God. Come out with healing and wholeness so that you can think clearly and you can look at people according to the Spirit and not according to the flesh. If they'd been able to do that, I reckon they would have encouraged David themselves, but because they couldn't, he had to encourage himself. And if you're a leader, as much as it's great to rely on good people around you, learn to develop within yourself a capacity to switch on faith and to encourage your own soul to stand up on the inside and to not take a defeat as a full stop, but to take it as a page in a book where you just turn a new page and start again. Let's hit the ground running. Let's believe God for what He's got for us. It might look bad today, but God is still with us. We may not have got the results that we wanted just yet, but God is still for us. We're going to keep pressing forward, keep moving on. And if no one around me is shouting my praises and encouraging me, I'm going to switch on faith and I'm going to encourage myself. I'm going to strengthen myself in the Lord. So maybe you need that today. Look in the mirror, get out of bed, do something and say, I'm going to encourage myself in the Lord today. I'm going to declare, praise the Lord, O my soul, and not let the circumstances of this temporary setback define the future and the way that I'm going to approach it. So bless you guys. Be an encourager of your soul and don't jump to conclusions while you're hurting. It won't help anybody. Bless you guys.